image. So before this talk, Richard asked me to choose 10 images from the book. And I chose, one of the images was the one on the left, where the lady is doing her makeup here. And this is a burlesque. And there's more images to follow, but I particularly like that image. I was thinking between that one, or there was another image where a young sumo wrestler was getting his hair fixed after his match or practice or something. And I thought it was very interesting because obviously growing up in Japan doesn't mean I see this on a daily basis. And it's so interesting how you, as a tourist, as a first-time New Yorker going to Japan, have access and observing these images. And I learned from that how unique and serene and interesting it is. But that one especially, I thought it was interesting because it's burlesque. It's a really weird, unusual situation, but her makeup kind of looks like kabuki, which is a Japanese traditional performance. And it's like, is that the uniqueness that just comes out of us Japanese or something? But it was really interesting, and how like we're trying to look for something Japanese in it, but I find myself doing that in this image. So I wanted to hear a little bit more about the story behind why do you have so many of the burlesque images, first of all, and what was the story behind this?
It was very difficult to get in here, to go backstage. Yes, so I basically, on my second trip, I knew I need to like make connections in order to go into a certain microcosmos or a certain, you know, fringe thing that is, like I wanted to see more from the inside. So the next trip, I started to like message people on Facebook, and then I got in touch with somebody who had a production company, a commercial production company, and I wanted to like do a behind-the-scenes shoot of one of the, and I came to his office and he said there's no shoots going on. So it was kind of like interesting that, you know, we did meet, although he couldn't help me directly, and his colleague said, how about burlesque? Because we were like, you know, fishing for ideas, what can we photograph in Tokyo?
Right.
And he mentioned, so he landed this idea, burlesque, because I have a friend who does burlesque dancing, and I was like, perfect, let's do it. But it took a long time for me to get access in the nightclub and also to go behind scene. But, dag meisje!
Is that you?
Yeah.
Oh, hello. Hello. How's it going?
And so, dag poppetje. Hey.
The book is dedicated to you, by the way,
Yes,
I believe, right?
that's true. This is Skylar, and the book is for Skylar. Hi meisje. So, papa gaat nu praten, okay? Yeah.
Okay. Did Skylar also go to Japan with you? Did
No,
your family
no.
No,
No.
okay. You went separately?
Yes.
Okay.
So I finally managed to be backstage, where they were
I'm
all
jealous, you're upping your cuteness by this. I want like a dog or something.
and so it's okay. And so why I really love this whole thing is because I'm there with 4 young women, not even young women. The oldest burlesque dancer was in her 60s, and
Wow. There's an image of her, I think.
so there's one. She was the youngest dancer / dominatrix, and I loved being a fly on the wall where these women were preparing to go in the nightclub. And the funny thing is, one of the oldest lady asked me, do you speak Japanese? And I said, no. And I said actually like no, like more in like, I'm sorry, I don't speak Japanese. And then she actually like smiled and said, that's maybe a good thing. And then I realized I'm not a threat at all. I have no idea what they're talking about. I'm just there. The moment they were getting undressed, I turned around. I was being respectful. And so in the club, I took a lot of photographs, but what I loved about it is I was like literally present into Japanese sisterhood. They were like all bonding, they were laughing, they were probably gossiping, they were doing their thing, and I was there just observing it, and I really loved it.
I think there's an image of them in a group.
Right, so these are the pictures that were not chosen to be in the book, but that I offered to
Oh.
the publisher. So these were the takeouts, which I always
Beautiful.
find interesting.
Yeah.
But this is where I was standing. So this I took with my phone.
This is
Yeah.
definitely a fly on the wall.
This was
situation.
literally my fly on the wall view, and it's like, you know, totally not glamorous at all.
Behind the
and
scenes.
Behind the scenes. So here I was. And
Yeah.
yeah, for me, especially in a country where meisje, hè?
And this is explaining how you're totally game with every situation that comes.
Right, exactly,
You roll
exactly.
with the situation. But yeah, so this, having that access, and this is actually just them showing, and I believe that lady is probably
That's the older lady. Yes, exactly. And I love the way that they enjoyed their body as an instrument of entertainment and being self-secure about everything they were doing. We were actually taking this picture. This was a joke between us. I showed them because the day before I was in the sumo stable. And I took a photograph of 3 sumo wrestlers, and I showed that photograph to the dancers, and they were laughing, and they were like, let's take the same picture. And so this is a picture that mimics this picture.
I see.
So we were like
I
totally
see.
like, you know, making fun of like something that I showed them. Like, let's do this, let's do this. And
I
so,
wasn't sure, so I chose a burlesque one, and I was, you know, debating if I should choose a sumo wrestler, but then I saw that you put that in there, but there's a reason.
There's a reason why it's there, because that's why that
That's
picture
them.
came to be. Right,
That's
exactly.
so
Right,
funny.
Right,
And they are both spectacles.
right.
You know, they put on a show. They're doing it to entertain the viewers. So in their different, very different way,
Very different set of rules.
doing it that way. But of course, sumo wrestler is more cliche compared to burlesque.
The burlesque, exactly. So that was kind of like what my big struggle was in the making of the book, is like, how am I balancing out the cliche that I also love and that the Japanese people are also actually very, very proud of.
The
So
cliche, yeah.
Japanese people love all the stuff that all the tropes and
We do.
and so it was very difficult to not show that. And also, I have a publisher who also would like to sell the book, and so, you know, certain things are appreciated in the book in order to, like, you know, to fulfill the expectation, basically.
Right.
But I was really struggling, like, how am I going to present this? How am I going to tell the story of a Japan, of a Tokyo that is completely different? And what I saw when I was in Tokyo is like the vast majority of what you see in Tokyo is just boring, people living, people eating. It's like the same thing we do in every city, basically. And that is what caught me as something that I really wanted to show. It's like all the sumo, the sakura, the kimono, the tea ceremonies. It's beautiful, it's lovely. However, it really emphasizes the us and them feeling. It's like, that is strange, that is different, that is weird. Show me that, because it's weird. Show me the Harajuku girls, because that's like, you know, strange fetish kind of like thing, like whatever motivation it is.
Right.
And so I really feel I needed to show something that shows that's what we do too. And that's why I wanted to like show that there is an us and an them in every different culture you step in, but there is just as much examples of like things that you can connect with and that you can feel connected with people that you can even talk to.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And yes, like you said, I think we started with the costume almost, to show how they want to present themselves. And they weren't born sumo wrestlers, they became sumo wrestlers, or burlesque as well. And I think it's really interesting to see the universality of something that underlies beneath all that. And maybe if you could go to the next image.